Hey pilots, DrainMan here, and today I've got a very special video. In today's video, we are taking our Betaflight journey one step further. You got that right. Betaflight 4.2 is out, and it is hype, and everybody's talking about it. So what are you going to do? Are you going to just sit around and let it pass you by? Or are you going to put Betaflight 4.2 on your quad and take it to the sky? Alright pilots, so in this video we are going to get Betaflight 4.2 on our quad. It's a very simple video, it's a very simple setup, and I'm going to show you how to do that. Now, there's something very important that you need to know. This is just a Cinewhoop. This is the Squirt V2. I've got a build video on it. I'll link that down for you. But basically, if we want to get 4.2 on there, in order to support it and all of its wonders, we have to have the new configurator. So that's something I want to do in this video, as I'm going to take a quick 2 minutes. I'm going to show you how to download the new configurator and install it, and then I'm going to show you how to put 4.2 on your quad. All right, pilots, so diving into the PC, the very first thing you need to do is you need to head over to this website right here. If you don't know where that is, I will put a link to it down in the video description. Just copy it and paste it in your browser, and you're going to pop up right here. And this is inside of the GitHub Betaflight configurator releases, and we're going to scroll down. You're going to see the very first one is the Betaflight configurator 10.7.0 release candidate 1. This is brand new and it is testing. Keep that in mind. If you come across any bugs, which I believe they're trying to keep it pretty much bug free, but if you come across one, let them know and then just revert back to the previous configurator until they work that out. So what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to scroll on down and we're going to look for our computer setup. So depending on what you got, if you've got a Linux, a Windows, or if you're rocking a Mac. If you're rocking a Macintosh, you might have trouble following along with me because I don't have one. But hey, if you know how to revert what's going on with Windows and do it on a Mac, then great, you'll be fine. So for me, I've got a Windows, so I'm going to click right here, and that is the installer, and you'll see in the bottom left, it is going to begin installing. It actually installed pretty dang quick. All right, so before that's done, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and go to our documents. We're going to double click our FPV folder. We're going to go to our Betaflight folder. And as you'll see, I've got 2 previous versions of the Betaflight configurator that I've downloaded in the past. And anybody who follows my videos knows I like to keep it organized. And we're going to go ahead and go Betaflight 10.7.0. And we're going to hit enter. So we've got a brand new folder for it, so that way we don't lose it. I'm going to throw that to the side and I'm going to hit show in folder. You'll see right here is the Betaflight configurator installer. I'm going to double click and my screen blacked out, and that's only because the screen recorder didn't pick up on it wanting me to give access to the program to go ahead and download. So now we're going to follow along. We're going to click next. We're going to agree. And it's going to try to head into an old folder, the one that I used the last time I did this type of download. We're going to hit browse and we're going to change where it's going. We're going to go into our FPV folder, Betaflight folder, and we are going to click on, you got it, 10.7. We're going to hit OK, and we're going to hit install. Now, there's nothing unusual about this. If you've downloaded any program, it's pretty much the same thing, but I do want to walk you guys through it just in case. Alright, so once you're all done, it's going to offer to go ahead and run. We're going to go ahead and click finish. And it's going to go ahead and start up the program. And there it is. Now, if you're unsure, what I want you to do is look right here in the top left corner, and you'll see where it says Betaflight configurator 10.7.0-RC for release candidate, and then 1. I am going to keep my PC clean. I'm going to open up my folder. I'm going to go to downloads, and you'll see here's the installer. I'm going to right click and I'm going to hit delete. Okay, so that is now gone. So now with that gone, I am ready to plug my quad into the configurator. All right, here we go. Oh, boom, she started right up. So here we are. We are inside of 10.7. So I want you guys to look again in the top left-hand corner. This is very important because now we are going to move on to flashing our flight controller. If you don't know how to do that, You're going to learn how to do that right now. It's very important. The very first thing you need to do is you need to connect to a configurator, any configurator, and you need to find out what your target is, unless you already know. If you don't know, this is how you find out. So now that we've got our target, we can also see our firmware, and you'll see here that this firmware on this Cinewhoop is extremely outdated. You can head over to the CLI and you can actually tell the CLI that you want to get into the bootloader and it'll do it for you. If you're having trouble, then you can revert to the boot button and you can do it like that. So in this command line, what we're going to do is we're going to type BL for bootloader, and when we hit enter, you'll see up here in the top right that we have now entered DFU mode, and that allows us to update our firmware. So I'm going to click the update firmware button. Now we want to get into show unstable releases, and this is probably not good practice. You should probably be putting on firmwares that are stable, but for the sake of having the newest and the hottest and the latest and the greatest, we are going unstable. And then what we're going to do is we are going to enable expert mode. We're going to go to release and release candidates. We're going to choose our board, and this is that very important moment that I talked to you about where you've got to know your target. They are in alphabetical order, thank God, and mine is the Fury F4 OSD. We know that because we looked at that together. Now, look at this. Here it is. We actually have the capability to put 4.2 on this guy, and I am excited. So here we go. So click on 4.2. Now, after you've done that, do not touch baud rate. Do not touch your reboot sequence. You don't need to touch any of that. You do want to make sure that full chip erase is selected. It probably already is. Now, for all of my pilots who are sitting there going, well, I'm smarter than this. I have already taken my entire peripherals out of my CLI, for example, dump or diff, any of those. If you've pulled those out and you've saved them on a folder and you've got this genius plan that you're going to flash 4.2 and then you're going to dump all that in and you're going to be back in action without having to set everything up, I got bad news for you. Do not do that. There are a lot of things that are not supported from the previous version to this version, and you're just going to get yourself in trouble. So don't be lazy. Full chip erase, do not save nothing. Now, what do we want to do? We want to load our firmware online. So your PC does have to be connected to the internet. If it's not, you won't be able to do that. And we are going to hit the big yellow button that says Flash Firmware. And you're going to see right away it is going to commence. You're going to begin erasing your board, and it is going to install the latest and the greatest. We have flashed it. We've got the big green bar that says programming successful. Now, real quick, I don't want to go over a lot of this because there are guys already doing it. There's no need for me to sit here and read you all of the things that you can read on your own. But I do want to point out a couple things. Something that I'm seeing right here is completely reworked the gyro loop, improved performance, and made it always run at the native speed of the gyro. That is huge, man. These quads are going to fly amazing. Look at this. They've set up new actual and quick rate models. I can't wait to try that out. Added compensation for sagging battery voltage, resulting in more consistent throttle plus PID behavior over the entire flight time. Dude, how cool is that? Pilots, you're going to be flying, your battery's going to be dying, and you're not even going to know your quad is going to fly amazing. We fly lipos. Lipos are dead in like 1 minute. So why not have our MCU and our board and all of our parameters adjust automatically to the fact that that's happening and our flight not be affected by it? That is cool. All right, so automatically, because our programming has been successful, it has exited DFU on its own. You'll see here we are in COM 3, and I'm going to go ahead and click Connect. Now, this is going to ask you, and this is important, do not ignore this. It is going to ask you about applying custom defaults. Please let it do that. Hit Apply and let it do that. You want those, trust me. Another thing too here is your configuration is going to detect that your accelerometer has not been calibrated. Now, back in the day, you used to be able to just jump into Betaflight, program your quad and go fly and not calibrate your accelerometer. And that can be dangerous because if your accelerometer is sitting a tad bit crooked, when you arm, she's going to try to take off, or when you're flying, it's going to veer off in a certain direction. So this is cool that it's going to remind us and tell us that we need to do that. So I'm going to hit close, and I'm going to take my quadcopter and I'm going to set it flat on the bench. And you can see my accelerometer looks good, but I want to show you for the sake of showing you. Go ahead and set it flat and hit calibrate. So now that we've done that, we are safe to go ahead and do everything that we want to do. And from there, we'll be able to actually take flight and not have any issues with that. I don't think I've ever had an issue with that, but you never know. You know, it could happen. All right, so if you're not used to it, up at the top right under data flash, enable expert mode, so that way you have all of your tabs. That way you can do everything that you want to do. We are inside of Betaflight 4.2. There is a ton of stuff to do. There are new rate profiles. There are new ways to adjust your rates. You can now do Betaflight rates, KISS rates, Flight 1 or race flight rates. There's all kinds of stuff in here. Something very cool that I'm interested in, one of the first things I'm going to go for is the graphical OSD. Well, it's not really graphical, but I can actually put my logo, which I don't have one. We need to make one. So what I want to do in my very next video, you guys should see it very shortly. If you want to see it, make sure you subscribe, because I'm going to drop it very soon, where you plug in your quad and then arming and disarming, you're going to actually see your logo, your actual Betaflight logo, whatever your logo is that you use. As FPV pilots, we all pretty much have one. I'm DrainMan. I've got my own logo. You've seen it. This is it. Boom. That's my logo that I have that represents me. I hope that you guys enjoyed it, and I will see you in the next one.